This over here real quick. I'm gonna move the chat over to my other monitor, just be a little bit cleaner for me. All right, cool. And then I'll minimize this, and then let me grab this real quick before we get started, and just move this over here. All right, cool. Cool. How we feeling, y'all? Feeling good? Feeling good, blessed, black, and highly favored. Ain't that a fact? Ain't that a fact? Let's go ahead and pull up the charts. So today we're gonna be breaking down the charts for y'all. Feeling great. Won my first cash trade today and really felt like I knew what I was doing. I appreciate everybody in TSA. Yo, shout out to you, bro. Proud of you, man. First of many, you know? Feeling good. What up, D Marie? Hope all is well, y'all. All right, cool. So right now we're gonna go ahead and jump into class. Real quick, for all of my normal TSA members who are in these classes, I have some of our free members in here as well. We're gonna share a little bit of the love, share a little bit of the knowledge with those individuals as well, so they can get a chance to learn, kind of see what TSA is all about and what these classes really look like. If you're new in here and all this stuff doesn't make sense, just pay attention, you know, just sit back. You got access to, you know, material that'll help you with all of this and understanding all of it. So just make sure you take some time to go through it. But right now we're gonna jump into it. All right. What's up? If you guys are new, again, you got curriculum to go through to be able to understand this, but this class is primarily for the people who know what they're doing. We're gonna break down the charts. We're gonna go through everything together. All right. So in today's class, one of the main things I want to talk about today is going to be focusing on key levels. Okay. Now, what exactly is a key level? Okay. So we all know support and resistance, right? So if you take a tennis ball, right? If I took a tennis ball right now, right? And I said, yo, let me just take this tennis ball and let me throw it at the ceiling as hard as possible. What would be the natural reaction of the tennis ball? Drop it down below in the chat. If I took a tennis ball and I threw it at the ceiling, what would happen to the tennis ball? Okay, exactly. It'll come back down, right? It'll come back down. So this is resistance, right? This is what our resistance is, right? If you took a tennis ball and you threw it at the floor as hard as possible, what would happen? Let me know in the chat. Exactly, it will bounce back up, right? So this is support and resistance. Support is the floor, okay? Resistance is the ceiling, all right? Hello from Germany, Tez. What up, Ed? Shout out to everybody in Germany. That's lit. It's lit. So we know what support and resistance is, right? So here's the key thing though, all right? When you guys are looking at a chart, we have to keep in mind the key levels and what exactly is a key level, right? So Monday's highs, right? So Monday is the beginning day, right? Is the first day of the week. This kind of sets the tone for the rest of the market. So this is why, you know, a lot of the times, even in our pre-market calls that we do inside of TSA, right? A lot of the times we'll mark out Monday's highs and Monday's lows. Now, if you use Lux Algo, right, you don't have to mark it out. The indicator will mark it out for you. So if I come over to the chart and I remove this blue line here, and I'll remove this blue line here as well, you'll see it right here. It says Monday's high, and then it'll also say Monday's lows right here. Now you can make this bigger as well, but for me, I already know what it is, so I don't really need to make it too big or anything like that. But this is a key level, okay? It's because it's the beginning of the week. Price action is showing where it's stabilizing at, where it's price at overall. And then based off of that, you can look at what price wants to do around these levels. And if you go back and you just back test, a lot of times price will bounce off of these levels. It'll use it as a ceiling. It'll use it as a floor. You know, it'll break through it. It'll, you know, it'll break above it, so on and so forth, right? Now, another form of key levels, right? And let me make sure I'm actually recording this.
Recording in progress.
So we know Monday's highs and Monday's lows are key levels. Well, what would also be known as key levels? Well, previous week highs and previous week lows. So the key thing about trading, and I talked about this recently, where all trading is looking at a chart and knowing what the price did. What did this stock do during this time period, over this time frame, right? What did it do? So that way I know, hey, if this did this, and price can potentially do this again, I can make an educated guess on what can happen next. That's all trading is, right? And the more you simplify this, the easier everything will become for you. So all you're looking at is what happened in the past, and then how can I make an educated guess on what's gonna happen next? So this is why you're looking at Monday's highs, Monday's lows. What happened in the beginning of the week? When you're looking at previous week highs, previous week lows. So last week, what happened then, right? Previous month highs, previous month lows. What happened then? previous quarter highs, previous quarter lows. So these are called key levels. These are levels that you want to watch out for because these are support and resistance on higher time frames. So the higher time frame you go, right? So a quarter is what? Right? What is a quarter in months? How many months makes up a quarter? Who can tell me down below in the chat?
3.
3, exactly. So if there's 3 months that make up a quarter, is 3 more than 1? Yes or no? Is 3 more than 1? We all got to know the answer to that, right? Yes, right? So what does that have to do with anything, right? Well, the quarter is higher than the month, right? And these are different time frames that you can go to, right? So if you go over to TradingView, you can look and see the 3 month, right? And you can find support and resistance off of the 3 month. You can find support and resistance off the monthly. You can find it off the weekly. Now, here's the thing when you guys are trading, right? These levels, and I'm going to remove all these lines just for demonstration purposes. I can redraw them later with you guys, right? But if you go up to the quarter, right, you can find these support and resistance levels. So how would you know if something is support? So look at this. At one point in time, this was resistance, right? So if I mark this out just like this, at one point in time during the quarter, this was resistance, right? Price came up, it tapped it. Next candle, which is the next quarter opens, we sold off, right? And then we rebounded back through. We came down and revisited the same exact level again, which is called a retest, right? And then we seen in this last quarter, right, during the month of April, right, we seen a massive sell-off come right back down to another level of support, which is back here. Look, notice how price has memory, right? Price has memory. So you can literally, if like one of the first ways that I started trading was understanding previous, support and resistance off higher time frames. And these are going to be the strongest levels. So one of the things that you'll notice is, again, we kind of talked about it yesterday, but we'll talk about it more because these demonstrations that I'm going to be teaching y'all work across any strategy you decide to trade, right? Yes, this will be uploaded into the recording section for TSA courses. So if you guys are a paid member, you'll get access to it. If you're a free member, I'm streaming this on YouTube too, so you can go watch it back on YouTube as well. All right. These classes are normally for my paid members. Today I wanted to be a little nice, get some of y'all in here so y'all can learn a little bit of stuff with us. All right. Y'all can just kind of see what the flow looks like, right? So if we know that these are key levels, what you want to be doing is watching what price and watching what these candlesticks are doing on these time frames, right? Not these time frames, but on these levels or around these levels, right? So, one of the things that I kind of talked about, which was it here? Yes, right? So let's look at this example, right? And, we'll look at it with today as well. So look at price. Price came up back to Monday's highs, you broke above it, and then it gave you a setup. So if you guys were live trading with us earlier, one of the trades that we took was this same exact setup. So we're going to look at this. We're going to look at a couple different tickers that did pretty well this past week that I called out. We'll continue to break things down and answer some questions as well. So if you guys have questions, drop it in the chat. Paid members, obviously, y'all questions will always be answered, but free members, I'll get to you when I get to you. So let's just continue going through it, right? So let's look at this, right? This blue line down here is the previous quarter high, right? So 3 months ago, this was the high of 3 months ago, which is now a what? Support level. Because price broke above it, right? The ceiling, what was once the ceiling, has now become the floor. So what was once a level where price couldn't get through, once it broke through it, it now became the floor. And now it creates a new ceiling. And this is how support and resistance works, right? So this blue line, because we use Lux Algo, because we pay for the subscription, we know this PQH, that stands for previous quarter high. And one of the things that you want to watch, right, is when price is moving, a lot of times price will revisit the same place because price has memory, right? Always remember that when you're trading, price has memory. So what do we see on this sell-off on Friday, right? Well, the market gapped down first off, right? So gaps will either fill or they'll continue. We know that, right? And we'll look at this example today and why we love to trade gaps. Gaps, like for my personal trading strategy and what we trade, gaps are very high probability setups that you can take because the odds of it working out is a lot higher than just taking a regular setup, right? That's just how gaps are, and we'll talk about gaps as well, okay? So when looking at this chart, right, and you see price come down, so the market gapped down overnight, meaning that there was significant selling pressure overnight. right? Which led to the market opening all the way down here. So there's this gap in between price, right? And when the market opened, it continued to sell off. Now, what happens once it opens and it sells off, look what happens. Price revisits the previous quarter high to the cent. So what do you do when price is around these levels? You look for actionable signals, because we trade the strat, right? Which shows us different actionable signals, how to read these candles, how to spot reversals, how to spot when price is going to bounce from a certain level, right? Because we trade the strat and we understand what these candlesticks mean, right? It's easier for us to know when the price can bounce. But even if you don't trade the strat, even if you have a completely different trading strategy, key levels will always take you far regardless of your strategy, right? I don't know why people don't talk about it as much, but it's definitely something that should be talked about more. Because if this is a higher time frame, on a higher time frame, if this was support or resistance, it's always going to be support or resistance even on a lower time frame. It's going to be even stronger than the ones that you might find on a lower time frame. Does that make sense? Drop a yes in the chat if everything is clicking so far. Okay? Is this live? Yes, Matt, this is live. This is 100% live. Okay? Perfect. Okay, we're clicking. So look what happened. What is your initial thought process when you're in this trade, right? When most people look at a chart, they don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know nothing about support resistance. They don't know nothing about, you know, key levels. They don't know any of this shit. So they're just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something clicks, right? In reality, you have to know what you're doing when you're looking at a chart, right? So look, price came back down into this previous quarter high. And when you're looking at this, you're looking and waiting to see what price wants to do. You're either looking for price to break through it with momentum, or you're looking for a bounce. Now, since this is the first time that we revisited previous quarter highs in a couple months, right? Well, you're ideally going to say, hey, this thing is not going to just break through on the first go, right? This is a strong level of support. 9 times out of 10, the price will bounce. And that's exactly what happened. So this is an entry, right? You use price getting down to this level, this key level, and you take the bounce from here. So when you start seeing price have a little bit of like shakiness in a sense, right? Where you're looking at the candlestick and it's all the way down here, and then it starts rejecting, you looking for the reversal, and you could take the reversal back up. So on trade, when you're trading SPX, because it moves so fast, right? This is from 62.14 back up to 62.51. That's a 40-point move in 30 minutes, which is a 30-minute candlestick, right? So this is a 30-minute candlestick. So in 30 minutes, this thing moved 40 points. Well, these contracts paid over 2,000%. So basically what I'm telling you is you put $100 in 30 minutes. Had you been patient, had you knew how to trade the strat, had you been in TSA, if you know what you're doing, you could have turned $100 into $2,000. You could have turned $1,000 into $20,000, right? And you know, this premise of you need a whole bunch of money to be able to trade is just not true. You just need to know what you're doing when you're looking at a chart to be able to maximize the money that you are putting into it, the money that you do have, right? Now, obviously you need good risk management, but what do we do in TSA, right? What is our risk management? Who can tell me in the chat? Or you can unmute yourself if you want to as well.
For 0.
We size for 0, right? We size for 0. I go into the trade with an amount of money I'm okay with losing. So that way it either goes my way or it doesn't. But when it does go my way, we hit home runs, right? We can show y'all multiple examples of the Discord where we're hitting 200, 300, 400% plus plays because we're sizing for 0. We're going in with an amount we don't care about. So if the trade runs 200, 300, 400%, we can sit in the trade, okay? So let's look at another example, right? Where you see price gapped up now, right? So what do we always say about gaps? I'm gonna explain gaps, but for my TSA members, what do we always say about gaps? What is our saying?
Gaps get filled or continue.
Exactly. Thank you. Gaps will either fill or they'll continue. So what does that mean though, right? Like, how do you connect that, right? So right here on the chart, right, this open green space, this is an imbalance on the chart. What do I mean by that? It's such a big word. Oh my God, I don't understand, right? Well, basically there's no red candles in this, inside of this space, right? This is called a gap. So buyers bought this price all the way up, right? Buyers bought it overnight and the market opened right here, right? This is SPX. So SPX opens right here. When it opened, there's a common rule within gaps that we talk about over and over and over, is that gaps will either fill or they'll continue. So in this case scenario, the gap will either come back down and fill it, right? So price will either open and then it'll come back and fill this gap, or it'll gap up and it'll just continue in the direction that it gapped up in, or, you know, continue in that specific direction, which is what happened. Now, another thing is, notice that we had a gap back here as well. So if I rewind this and I come back here like this, Well, this was also a gap, right? Is this not also a gap here from Friday? So price came back and filled this gap. If we watch, look at this. If we put this in play, we talk about this, right, over and over. Gaps will either fill or continue. And look what happens. Price came up and filled majority of the gap to the T, right? This is why the indicator goes away now. That red open price, right? That gap is completely filled now. Price has moved back through it. Now there's a gap here. And what do we see today, right? Multiple selling pressure. The gap, I don't think the gap fully filled today, right? Let's go ahead and turn this off. Definitely didn't, right? But now you know price could come back down here at some point in time to 62.37. So this will be a price point I'm looking at for the week. If price can break through Monday's lows, which is a key level, this is how you're using all of it. If price breaks below Monday's lows, which is a key level, the next potential place it could come to is to fill the gap. Does that make sense? Drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, good. So you're looking at high probability factors, right? Like if you're trading around key levels, it will make it easier for you to trade because you can get a stronger move. The problem is that beginners or newer people are trying to trade when there's little to no volume, right? Because we trade momentum. We like for strong moves. The trade that we took today when we were live trading, I'm gonna upload the recording later today as well. I'm gonna show you it, right? So this is the trade that we took. So we knew back here that there was a gap in the price, right? We knew that there was a gap. So coming into today, we seen the market run, right? And let me just make sure this is, yes, this is today, right? So we seen the market run. We came up and filled all of the gap. And then what is this? What do we call this right here, y'all? Comment or unmute yourself.
Is that a failed two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't tell because of the order block, but failed two.
Yep, it's a failed two, right? So this is called a failed two up, right? So basically what this means per the strat, right, is that price pushed up, filled the gap to the T right here. And when it did, it faked out the bulls, right? So everyone who was taking calls because the market was running, they're thinking, oh, we're going to keep running. We're going to keep running. We're going to keep running. No, it's a fake out, right? So it did what it needed to do. It came and filled the gap. It filled out its job. It completed its job. And then what you see is we also had data at 10 a.m., right? So at 10 a.m. we had PMI, right? Which is a red folder day, right? Where there's tends to be a lot of volatility and a lot of volume across the market as a whole when PMI or when data comes out, right? And we know this because we come to pre-market calls within TSA all the time, okay? So price came up, filled the gap, and it gave you an actionable signal. Right? This is called an actionable signal, meaning you do something when you see this candle, right? And the way you use this is if you see that the bulls are starting to lose steam, right? Then you start seeing that bears are taking back control on this candlestick. Well, you're looking to see if bears are going to stay in control. And this was our entry, right? So watch this. Our entry on the live trade, because I missed this initial break here, this was supposed to be our initial entry. So this is where you were supposed to take your puts, right? This is where I was supposed to get in, but I was live trading. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I completely missed it. Or I think data came out and it just reacted too quick and I missed it. So I said, well, where's the next level that I can get in at? Well, Monday's highs, because it's a key level, right? So now I'm utilizing these levels as as a place where I can look for an entry, or I can look to take an egg, or I can look to take profits. Okay, this is how you're utilizing key levels. You do this with previous quarter highs, previous week lows, previous week highs. Like these key levels on higher time frames are things you want to watch out for, right? So notice what happens. I take the entry here on puts live with you guys. I have it recorded, right? I take the breakthrough. I size my trade for 0, so it either goes my way or it doesn't, right? And look where it comes back to, right? We sell off. And then this move right here from Monday's highs to 63.22, this gave me 71% on my trade. This move right here, just from trading momentum. Now, if you continue staying in the trade right? You had multiple order blocks, which are just another level of support and resistance where institutions or like banks and, investors, this is where they like to buy and sell from, right? Well, what happened is once we broke through the order block, right, and we came down, we sold off massively. So look at where our entry was at Monday's highs, 63.30, a key level, and we had a low of 62.89. Well, this is about an 80-point move. Or what was that? Is that 80 points? No, it's about 62.90. Nah, not even. That's about 30-point move. I'm tripping, right? So this 30-point move right here, well, these contracts can go multiple thousands of percent. So it's, again, you don't need an insane amount of money. All you needed to do was look at key levels and watch for actionable signals around key levels. Is it clicking? Is it making sense? Drop a yes in the chat if it's making sense. There we go. Love it, love it, love it. Kinda, it's okay. I'm gonna make it make sense. Let's move off SPX because it moves a ton. Let's look at excuse me. Let's look at IWM, okay? So another topic, right, that we're gonna talk about in today's class is the volume indicator, right? So one of the things that I was having trouble with a little bit ago was trading when there's low volume, right? Which is also known as choppiness. You want to trade when there is a ton of volume because you want your move to happen quickly. Well, the problem is when you're not using a volume indicator, you can't spot what the volume is. You're just kind of looking at the candle move. The candle's gonna move regardless, right? You like your opinion of it moving fast or slow. It's not something that you can really gauge based off watching the candle. You need to see volume. And basically this is how many orders that are coming in, right? So this indicator down here at the bottom, this is the buying pressure and this is the selling pressure. So one thing that we noticed, right, is SPX is the overall stock market, right? The S&P 500. It tracks the S&P 500, right? It's an ETF, right? Or index, I'm sorry. Well, if SPX is pulling back strong, well, majority of the rest of the ETFs and other tickers are going to follow behind it, right? That's how it works, right? So one of the things that you could have noticed by looking at this volume indicator, right? Who was with me live trading earlier today? Comment me down below if you were in the live trading Zoom. Okay, I see all the me's. Okay, good. Okay, for those of you guys who are watching off other platforms, I have a Zoom chat over here as well, so I can see all these, see all the chat and things like that, right? So, excuse me. So one of the things that I'm looking at is the volume, right? So in the Zoom class or in the live class, right, or the live trading, right, we're sitting here looking and we're like, okay, well, like I'm telling y'all, I don't trust the volume that I'm seeing. Like, yeah, you get a red to green move at open, and then you have this breakout, but I was still waiting for a break above pre-market highs, right? I was waiting for a break above pre-market highs. Where do you go live at? Inside the Discord. For all my free members, this is a class that we do in the paid version. Right now, y'all are in the free version. All right. So this is your pre-market highs. So price never broke above that, right? He did say that exactly. So I'm like, there's no real momentum. And if you're looking at this candle, right, or looking at the volume, you have a ton of buying volume coming in, a ton of bulls stepping in, and then it's slowing down. Why would I want to take calls into slower momentum or into slower volume? Doesn't make sense, right? And then you see this candle here where the volume picks up, and now you're seeing that selling pressure. And look at where price comes to. It reverses here, and it comes back down to an order block. And this happened within about 45 minutes. So from here to here, these contracts paid a little over 200%. A lot of y'all caught that move, right? So it's, and when you look at this, right, this is also Monday's highs. You could have literally, if you don't trade the strat, if you don't know nothing about anything, if you mark off key levels, Monday's highs, Monday's lows, like I said, all those other key levels, you could look for entries around these levels. So what you would do is you would see that this is Monday's highs, and you would say, okay, well, price broke above it again, couldn't hold above Monday's highs, and then sold back off. And when it sold back off, right? Let me move this back over here. When it sold off and went back under Monday's highs, which is your entry, you take puts under here, and then look what happens. Comes right back down to an order block. Order block in a discount zone. Boom, exactly. And there goes a green trade. Simplify the way that you trade. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. You want to make things look good, right? But like I'm in the space mentally to where I just want to understand shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you can like, how many of y'all working 9 to 5? Comment me down below. And this is no shade to anybody working 9 to 5. I just want to know who works a 9 to 5 here, or who has a job, right? Well, here's the thing. A lot of y'all are probably smarter than me, to be completely honest with you, right? Like a lot of you guys are smarter than me. But the one thing that I think that I can credit my success to is that I go out my way to learn, right? I go out of my way to learn. I use my time to learn things, right? So when I'm looking at a chart, I understand what all these things mean, but you have to also put the same amount of effort and time in to learn these things as well. Because when your job gives you a certain task to do, you do it at a high level. But when I tell you to learn this craft and execute at a high level, right, then you could get the same type of results. It's just you don't know these things. And that's why, we have these lives, and that's why we do these classes, to help educate you and make it make more sense, right? But here's why I want to connect everything. If you can work a job and excel at working a job, you can do this and make this your new job and make this the last thing that you do that will print you the amount of money that you want to make. There's literally no limitations to the amount of money that you can make. You got to want it for yourself. Exactly. Right. And one of the things that I want to talk about as well is self-limiting beliefs, right? Like you were told things when you were a kid about yourself to control you, right? Whether it was your parents, whether it was your grandparents, whether it was guardians, whether it was friends, whether it was just family, right? The thing is people told you things to control you, to control how you think, to control their expectation of you, right? So like you think the way you think based off of the things that were fed to your mind, but yet you have never taken any time out to question the things that you were taught, to question your belief systems, to question your belief about money, right? Which is why trading is going to be very difficult for a lot of people, because they never addressed the elephant in the room, that they actually have a bad relationship with money, which is why it's hard for them to save a lot of money or make a lot of money, because they think about money like, let's say $10,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people. Or like in reality, in my reality, right, it's not a lot of money at all. If I do 10K in a month, that's a pretty bad month for me, like extremely bad month for me, right? But for some other people, that's like, oh, that's a lot of fucking money to make in a month. Well, it's your reality, right? It's what you were taught when you were younger, and now you've built beliefs around what you were taught and you never questioned them. And this is why oftentimes you haven't reached the level of success that you want, whether it's in trading, whether it's in starting a business, whether it's whatever avenue that you're going in. 9 times out of 10, you haven't reached that level of success because there is some level of self-limiting beliefs that you have about yourself internally, and you don't even realize it, right? It's pretty sickening when you think about it, but it's so subconscious, it's so internal from things that you were taught when you were younger that it's just a natural belief that you have now. Those thoughts are hard to break. It is, right? But it doesn't mean that it's impossible to break. But if you know this is the only thing that's holding you back from making $1 million, from making, $10 million, from leaving your job, from, or getting the amount of time that you want to be able to do the things that you always wanted, well, don't you guys feel like it would be worth it to address that elephant? Am I right or am I right? Comment yes down below. Would it not make a lot of sense for you to take however many years and months and hours it takes for you to address the things that you have internally that go on with you that you don't know about? Would it not make more sense? If this is the only thing, if you have a ceiling on yourself, right? If you have like people come to trading and they say, oh, I'm not going to be able to learn this. Well, of course you're not going to be able to learn it because you just told yourself you're not going to be able to learn it. And one thing that I know is a fact is that what you think and what you create in your mind actually comes true. It comes into reality. You think about not being able to make a lot of money, you're not going to make a lot of money. I made $1 million because I knew $1 million was possible. That's all you really needed to know, is that it was possible. Next is, how do you do it? People think, can I do it? Fuck, can I do it? You can absolutely do it. Think about something, right? I really want y'all to understand this. And this goes to trading as well. The strongest thing that you have in your body is your brain. Think about that. You have the ability to create. You have the ability to imagine. Somebody created in their mind a fucking light bulb that we now use years and years and decades later. Somebody in their mind created the idea of a car that we all now use every single day as a standard of our life. Somebody created a computer in their mind. It was no examples of it. They just created it in their mind. So if the brain is the smartest thing and the strongest and the best thing that you have within you, why is it that you put the least amount of time in your brain? Why do you nurture and feed your brain less than everything else in your life? You feed your entertainment, you feed your satisfaction, you feed your lust, your desires, you feed everything else but your brain. But yet you wonder why making money is hard. It's because you haven't worked out that same muscle in your brain that creates. Is it clicking? Or am I just saying shit right now? Right? So this is the reality of things, right? You have to change how you think. And even in trading, some people might look at this and on my charts and they'll say, oh my God, this is so complicated. It could just be so much more simple. Yeah, it's going to be more complicated because you just told yourself it was going to be complicated. But you haven't even taken out the time to really learn the things that you see on the screen right now. So everything's going to be difficult. But it was also difficult when you were a baby or when you were a kid to learn how to walk. But you still figured it out. It was difficult to learn how to ride a bike, but yet you know how to ride a bike. Some of y'all know how to ride hoverboards. That was difficult at first. How many times did you fall on your ass before you learned how to ride it? You can literally figure out all of this stuff. Right? You don't have to be a genius. Like I said, a lot of y'all might be smarter than me. But you just got to put the time into the craft. That's it. That's it, literally. Right? So like, we'll go over a couple different examples of just trade setups. But again, using this volume indicator. So look how the volume increases at 10 a.m., which was what? Data, right? We have PMI data come out, right? We had the volume increase and it gave you a reversal setup. So this is a reversal. This is called a 2-2 reversal. So you had a strong move up, came and retested previous or pre-market highs, failed, and then sold off. And then it recovered, right? So, price does the same thing every single day. I could go back to just multiple different examples where we see the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's just a consistent habit. And when you understand the charts, right, and you understand these candlesticks, you now know how to read these candles. So for like those of you guys who are in TSA, I'm going to move it over here so everyone can see it. For those of you guys who are in TSA, how many of you feel like you truly understand what these candlesticks mean now? After you learn the strat, how many of you truly feel like, I now finally understand what the hell these candles mean? I understand what price is doing. I am more confident in my ability to execute, right? So the rest of y'all see yeses and me's and all this stuff, right? The strat changed my life, right? But remember, at one point in time, you were also the type of person that said, yo, that shit looks crazy. That looks super difficult. And now look where you at. I can just open my phone and randomly understand. I can open my phone randomly and understand the direction of the market, literally. But it just takes time to learn it. That's it. That's all it takes. It takes time and learning from the right people. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? That's all it takes. So let's keep going through some different examples, right? So watching the volume, right? So even here on IWM, right? If we head over to the 30-minute time frame and what day is this? Okay, it's right here. Let's go let them in. Okay, so let's take a look at this, right? So on a 30-minute time frame, we know we have this order block right here, right? So remember, an order block is a level of support and resistance. So this order block was created back here. So how is an order block created? It's from institutions selling in bulk, basically. Let's just put it like that. What is an institution? Banks, hedge funds, investors, so and so, right? It's those people making huge orders, right? Placing huge orders, whether it's to buy or sell something, right? How do we know this is an order block as well? Well, you can see the momentum push. This is institution. So remember, when the market is moving, right? When you see these big candlesticks on a chart, it's not retailers, right? Your $1,000 is not making a dent in anything that's going on in this chart. It's not even nothing. It's not even contributing, damn near, right? It's the people who are moving millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a consistent basis, right? And you got to remember, when you're trading, there's millions of people clicking buy and sell at the same time, right? Everyone's looking at the same chart. How they read it might be different, right? Someone might be taking buy, somebody might be taking sales based off different analysis that they see on the charts. But at the end of the day, everybody's clicking a button, right? But the people who are moving the market are the people who have the most money to move the market. Those are the institutions, right? So even right here, right, you have a 3-bar. IWM is known to do 3 bars in the beginning of the day, right? Another thing is, look what happens though, right? So back to my point of key levels. You have Monday's lows right here. Price came back down, almost retested it, like it was a couple cents off, right? So I think it's about 3 cents off from retesting Monday's lows. So what are you doing? You're looking at it and saying, okay, price is coming back near a key level. Now, what does price want to do around this key level? Okay, and in this case scenario, it bounced from this level and then it pushed higher the rest of the day. So our setup here would have been it's called a 3-2-2 continuation. So a 3-bar is when the candle breaks above and below the previous candle. So this candle's high and low is above this candle's high and low, right? And then you're looking for a continuation. You're looking to say, hey, do the bulls or do the buyers still have control right now? And when you start seeing that they have control on this candle, once it breaks above here, you take the entry and look at where that entry would have gotten you, especially if you would have held the contracts. Another thing to take note of, let's say you missed this entry. Well, this line right here, this blue line, is previous quarter highs. This is also a key level. So what I am looking for is, what does price want to do around this key level? I'm watching price around a key level. So the first time it broke above it, it pulled back. The second time it broke above it, it closed above it, and then it moved higher. Do we understand why key levels are so important now? Do we understand how to properly use these key levels now? Let me know in the chat. Making sense now, right? And it's just a matter of just hearing, just looking at these things. So key levels got a lot to say in the market. They make a stock, the way a stock will move. Well, it does, right? You got to remember, right? So think of it like this. If we're all looking at the same chart, right? Like, let's say like you only trade supply and demand, or you trade support and resistance, or you trade just all the different strategies and shit that's out there, right? Everyone's trading the same chart. Everyone's looking at the same shit. It's just different. But guess what? Support and resistance, regardless of what strategy you use, all of it is support and resistance. And everyone is looking at the same levels. Previous quarter highs is previous quarter highs, regardless of what chart you're looking at. So people are going to read it the same way you're going to read it. Everyone is anticipating a move around this level. Does that make sense? A chart is a chart is a chart. It doesn't matter who it is. You can be somebody in London trading, the person in India trading, the person in the US, the person in Kansas, the person in Ohio, the person in Georgia, and the person in California. It does not matter. Everyone is looking at the same chart, and the same chart shows the same levels, and the same levels are respected. Price has memory. It will come back to these same levels and give you a reaction around the levels. Clicking? Do you just use Lux Algo only to identify key levels? So I use Lux Algo for smart money concepts, and that's basically order blocks and gaps. This is TradingView. This is TradingView that we're on right now. Shout out to all my people on TikTok that's watching right now as well. If you guys like this game, get us to 5K likes and I'll keep pouring more into you. All right. Okay. So let's look at another trade that we sent out, right? So we could literally just go through the trade signals that I sent out to y'all, right? So day trading signals, and we'll go look at another one. What else went crazy? Okay, so NVTS, right? Same exact thing. I think I seen a couple screenshots. A couple of y'all hit 100, 200% on NVTS, right? Okay, cool. Well, let's look at the scenario, right? Let's look at it. So I'm gonna remove all of the lines, and we're just gonna make everything click. Watch key levels, see what price wants to do, okay? Is Lux Algo a software you use with TradingView? Yes. You gotta pay $60 a month for it. This is not my software. I didn't code it. I don't have an affiliate link. I make no money off of you using it. It's just something that I use, okay? If I wanna learn and I'm a beginner, where do I go? So for anyone that's on any other platform and you wanna learn all this stuff, you can just click the link in my bio. There is a free Discord, so some of the free members are in here right now, so you guys can check it out. But yeah, okay. So look at this. All right, so this is NVTS. So they reported earnings today, right? So when you're first initially looking at this chart, the first thing that you want to notice is they reported earnings, right? So there's going to be a lot of momentum, a lot of volatility around this particular ticker. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you want to identify the gap, right? So we know this open red space is the gap. This is open space where buyers had no room or say so in between this price action. So from $7 all the way up to $8, right? Sellers were in control majority of this time. Does the gap make sense? Clicking? Okay. So let's rewind this, right? Let's rewind it. We're gonna do this. Gonna go back. Boom. We'll just go to pre-market, right? Because I sent this entry out before the market opened, right? So price gap down from them missing their earnings, right? So price gaps down. Pre-market opens, okay? And one of the things you want to notice is what? The key level. This is Monday's low. This is Monday's low. Now, what is the second thing that we notice on this 15-minute time frame? What is the second thing that we notice, TSA? What candlestick is this right here?
3-bar.
A 3-bar. Exactly. It's a 3-bar. A 3-bar is what?
Actionable signal.
Exactly. A 3-bar is an actionable signal. What does that mean? An actionable signal is when you see this candle, you do something afterwards. It's an action, like take action afterwards when you see this candle, right? So at pre-market, on the 15-minute time frame, not only do you get a 3-bar, which is what? An actionable signal, but you're also around a key level, Monday's lows. These levels are respected across every ticker you could possibly think of. It works across all of them. Doesn't matter what strategy you trade or what you believe and all that shit, bro. This is what it is. This is how the market works. This is how it's been working. If you want to simplify everything, you could literally only trade support and resistance and you'll be perfectly fine, right? So look what happens when price breaks above it. So you're watching this and you're anticipating this, right? So price opens and it breaks above Monday's lows. You could look for a call entry from here, right? Or you could wait until more confirmation, which is a higher time frame key level, previous week lows, that is higher than Monday's lows because it's a week price action a week ago, right? So look how price comes up, still doesn't break it, but on the next candle, it breaks it, and then it starts to run, right? Now this one, I think, who took this entry? I think, I will have to go back through the Discord. I think he took his entry through Monday's lows. I think that's why he got paid so much on this move right here. But ideally, you would have wanted your target to be up here at this gap fill, which didn't end up happening, I don't think, throughout the rest of the day. But once it broke through previous week lows, this paid, right? Even if it wasn't an insane, huge move, right? I know, a lot of people are used to crazy moves, right? But this paid right here, back through Monday's lows, key level, once again. All of this stuff is the same stuff over and over and over and over again. I'm telling you, right? What was another example? Hymns. Some of y'all caught hymns today, right? This was the one, right? So we sent this entry out as well, okay? You can also use pre-market highs and lows as key levels as well, right? So what does that mean? The highest point during the pre-market and then the lowest point during the pre-market. You can use these levels as well as key levels, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and delete those real quick. Okay. So look what happens with price. Price breaks above, what is this right here? Previous week lows. It's this, I'm telling y'all, man, like, is this clicking or is it clicking? Is right now clicking or is it clicking? Let's be honest. You're coming up against the same levels over and over and over and over again. All you're doing is waiting for a reaction around the levels. That's it. And when you get an actionable signal around these levels, you should be more confident taking the trade. That is like, in order to find a high probability setup, right? You have to use levels. You can use strat candlesticks by itself, but using levels will make it more high probability. Okay? So look, price breaks above the previous week lows, and we already know that there's a gap. So look, let's rewind it. Rewind this back here. You know that there's a gap at 62.53. You know that previous week lows is right here. You know that we sold off into an order block. This is support. Price is finding support. Market opens and it shoots up, right? Breaks through previous week low. That's your entry. Key level. Taking out the high and the low candle. Thank you guys, right? So you have a key level that's broken. You take the entry on calls and your target is the gap fill. Well, look what happens. Price comes up, fills the gap, and comes back to another order block. From order block to order block, right? So this is from 54.86 to 64.16. From order block to order block. It's that simple, right? And then I think it kind of ran a little bit more. Did it cool off the rest of the day? So watch this. Hold on one second, y'all. So look at this. Same exact scenario, right? I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. I don't see anyone else trying to get in on the Zoom. Sorry, I don't see her name on here. I would let her in if I could see her name. So look at this. An actionable signal right around a level of resistance, right? This is an order block, right? So this is smart money concepts, right? So what you're doing is you're looking for this setup, right? So this is a fail to up, fail to go higher, fail to close higher, right? And it gives you a setup. So the only candlesticks that I really trade is 3s and failed 2s. Those are my favorite candlesticks to trade. It's by far some of the simplest. Is it something that works 100% of the time? I don't care who it is. There is no trade strategy that works 100% of the time. There's not one. You will always I think the thing with trading is people want to make money. You have to accept that you're going to lose. You have to accept it. This is a probability game. You add more, right? You add more edge, right? Or you have more of a probability to win by using certain indicators or using certain strategies. But at the end of the day, it's all probability based. Nothing will work all the time. You're going to take losses. You just have to be okay with knowing that you're going to take a loss and taking the loss to the chin and not crashing out. Okay, I talk about this a lot. Don't go crash out. Don't take your computer, throw it out the window. Don't go crash your car. Don't go drink, as much as you can because you just lost $200. No, man, this is why proper risk management is important. You want to know how much you're going to lose and how much you can make off this trade, period. Don't crash out. So price came up, filled the gap, hit your target, and then it came right back down to where? The order block. So this, I don't know. I don't think it could get any more simpler than this, right? I don't think, if you don't understand the strat yet, right? This is why you want to be in the free section of the Discord, right? For those of you guys who are on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, whatever, y'all click the link in my bio. There's a free PDF, free videos breaking down the strat and these candlesticks and the numbers and all that shit. So just go click there. It'll explain everything. If you're already a free member, you have access to free curriculum. You can go through it. If you want to be a paid member, obviously you can upgrade at any time. But the thing I want you to notice is that you're not looking for something that works all the time. You're just looking for something that has an edge, that gives you a higher probability of choosing the right direction. Here, we came to a level of support. We came back to resistance. We came back to support. You could have made money up from initially. You could have waited and said, damn, I missed the move. I'll just wait to see where the next resistance level is. Gave you a signal. You could have made money back down. Spend time going through the courses. It's worth it. Absolutely. I agree. I have new people coming in who are understanding the market at a level that they never thought they could understand it at. But it's all because you're wanting the information. Right? That's all you're doing. Okay? Yo, I appreciate the nuggets that you're giving. This is insightful. No problem, man. No problem. That's all I'm here to do is just give y'all a game. Okay? Y'all are tuning into a private class. That's basically what you're getting right now. You're getting insider access into a private class that are normally only for my members. So, better thank the members though, for real. Okay? What questions do you guys have on this based off the key levels and volume as far as from what we talked about so far today? What and how do you recommend charting on? I don't have an iPad or computer. I recommend just using whatever you got, Like, get a computer for sure. It'll make things easier for you. But if all you have is an iPad, use what you have. Like, I'm not the type of person to come here and tell y'all you need all this fancy, crazy stuff and you need 6 monitor computer. You don't need multiple monitors. Now, do I have multiple monitors? Yes, but I've been doing this for longer, right? I've been doing it for longer, so I need to see multiple things. But for you in the beginning, you can trade one ticker and grow an account from $1,000 to $10,000 trading one ticker, taking the same setups every single day. Are you going to have losses along the way? Yes. It's a part of the process. Okay? Can you explain the 2s and 3s more? Is that something offered within Lux Algo? So, Joshua, there is a guide that you have access to in WAP. You just got to go redeem it. It's free, so you don't have to go do anything, but you just log in. And it has a video explaining the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Lux Algo is just an indicator that shows like order blocks, which are these things right here, like all of these. And then it shows gaps, so like these open red boxes. But yeah, all of that stuff you already have access to, so you just got to go watch the videos. There's like 5 hours worth of videos in there that y'all can watch. Okay. What other questions you guys got, TSA members? Obviously, y'all questions are coming first. What's a good ticker to trade? Wait, what's a good ticker to start trading with a small account in order to stay within the limit of 3.5% and not blow it? IWM. IWM is one of those tickers that the contracts are so cheap. You can get one contract for $10. What was it last week? I think we got the screenshots in the Discord. Last week, a $15 contract went to $160. So you take $15 and you turn it into $160. How many of y'all will be okay with turning $15 into $160? It might not be a lump sum of money, but you got to think about your portfolio size. You got to think about the size of your portfolio. Stop, like, y'all are looking at people from YouTube and on Instagram, or you might look at me, you might come to my lives and be like, oh, like, this motherfucker just made $75,000 in a month and all this shit. And it's like, that's great and all, but like, I also had to start where you started at. I think people are forgetting that, right? Like, when I post screenshots of my ports, it's not to like make y'all feel any type of way. It's for me to show you what's possible, because Lord knows I needed to know what was possible when I first got started. That's it. You just need to see what's possible. So if you see me make $75,000 in a month in the market, then you're going to believe that it's possible. So then you're going to go do it. And then it's going to be way higher of a chance for you to do it because you know it's possible. All it is between you is just information. The only reason you're not where you want to be at is because you don't know something you need to know to get there. Period. I don't believe that there's anything else that you can blame. If you blame anything external, it's kind of hard for me to have a conversation with you because you lack accountability. Right? Like, I know people think I'll be harsh about some stuff sometimes, but like on some real shit, like I don't want to be around nobody who thinks small. I don't want to be around anybody who lacks accountability. I'm sorry. I don't care if you family. I don't care if you a friend that I grew up with. Like, y'all have too much attachment to relationships that are no longer serving you. And then you wondering why you still behind. You wondering why you still thinking the same. You wondering why you still getting the same results. It's because you keep doing the same things that you've been doing, expecting a different outcome. It's called insanity. How long do you think it takes to turn 2K to 10K at a rational and profitable rate? Really, honestly, bro, there's like no a specific date. I know people who can do it in a week. You know, if there's clean price action and you know what you're doing and you have proper risk management, you can do it in a week. You can do it in a couple days, or it could take you a couple weeks. You know. I paper traded a $9 contract today and it went to $23 and a $20 contract to $54 with IWM. Exactly. You don't need an insane amount of money. How do you know when to differentiate taking the 3 and the 2 setup or the failed 2? It just happened in the previous ticker you showed. NVTS, or are you talking about HIMS? So 3s, I'm more confident in 3s because you got to think. You're faking out one direction and then you're moving back through to the other side with momentum. So you're going to be a little bit more confident in taking the break of a 3. Failed 2s, you're faking out one direction, and now you're potentially moving to the opposite direction. Ever since just focusing on just IWM and QQQ has been so much better for me. I was so confused when I was focused on a bunch of tickers. Yeah, I mean, just in every area of life, right? In every single area of life, if you just minimized what you focused on, I promise you your results will be a lot higher. Stop focusing on all this stuff at one time. Just focus on one thing at a time. I remember back in 2023, I started with $100 in options for a week and flipped it to over 1K and used the money to get my MacBook Pro. Like, you can literally do that. Like, y'all see me in Weeble, right? Like, that play, I think a couple weeks ago, like, I was up $20,000. Well, that $20,000 paid for my car note for an entire year. Like, this, I know people think that, you know, the market has to be more difficult. And I know that there's a lot of people who teach different things, and salute to all those people. I'll never, like, one thing y'all know about me, I'll never throw shade to nobody and what they teach and how they teach or any of that stuff. Like, if your goal is to help people make more money, if your goal is to help inspire people or show people what's possible, by all means, do what you do. I got, my opinion doesn't matter, right? And no one else's opinion matters of what I'm doing. But the thing is like, my whole process is I take money that I make within my businesses and I flip it in the market, and I use that money to pay for lifestyle stuff. That is my overall premise. Yo, YouTube, I see y'all chat in there. When you said 1K, hold on, see. I couldn't see the chat all the way. Let's go ahead and extend it. I still can't see the chat all the way. I don't know why it's like this. Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. First time ever seeing you on YouTube live stream. Random advertisement, but was interesting. I have a question. Go ahead, drop your question. When you said 1K with one ticket to 50 to 100K, I trust it since I've seen it around. I don't remember ever saying that. Glad I found your channel. Yo, appreciate you, bro. You heard of the wheel strategy? Wheel strategy? Nah. Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in another Discord and it's all over the place. Just off the Zoom call, I can tell how your Discord coming off top. So much clarity. I'm joining ASAP, Brody. I appreciate you. No problem, Joshua. I'm glad I was able to help, bro. Like, that's the goal, bro. Is just simplify this shit, man. Like, and this is not a diss to anyone else's group or anything like that. But like I just feel like this was the way that I learned that finally clicked. Y'all gotta understand. I went through every strategy. Like, I watched the YouTube videos. I bought the courses. I paid the mentorships. I paid for the groups. I did everything that you've done. And this was the thing that clicked for me. Right? Like, yes, I have a lot of experience with long-term investing, but this was the thing that clicked. When I learned how to read the strat, when I learned that there's only 3 things that a candlestick can do, it's either a 1, a 2, or a 3. A 1 is consolidation. A 2 is a directional move, so it's a 2 up or a 2 down. And a 3 is volatility. You fake out one side and you take out the other side and you go back in the other direction. When I learned that, everything changed. Everything changed. One day you can bring a special guest like Kelly. Yeah, I'm connected with all the traders. Like, I think it ain't nothing but me making a phone call, to be honest. HIMS is the ticker Tez, wherever you can get to it. Yeah, I'm on HIMS right now. Which candle are you talking about? Do you options trade? Yes, this is an option trading class. Thank you for sharing your knowledge because it's finally clicking with me. Shout out to Amy, yo. Shout out to Amy. I'm glad it's clicking. If it's clicking for you guys as well on all the other platforms, make sure you guys hit the like, hit this hit the follow button and hit the subscribe button, whatever platform you're on. What other questions do you guys have? What other questions do you guys have? What was another ticker I sent out today? Oh, on the 30-minute, it went 3-2, but then it reversed. Okay, so let's look at the 30-minute. I think that's because I was looking at the 15. So watch this, right? So look, PJ, how would you differentiate what you take? So it's based off your targets, right? Where's the next level of resistance? Right? So where's the next level of resistance? So what would give me more confluence to take a specific trade? Well, look at the momentum on this candle, right? You pushed up on an earnings day on HIMS from 55 or 54 to 62, right? So could you have taken this break? You could have, and you would have been in profits a little bit, right? But another thing that you always got to remember is that SPX or the S&P 500, when it moves, everything follows. So at this time frame, this is at 10 a.m., the whole market sold off. So it's not necessarily that you did anything wrong if you took this entry. It's just that you were on the wrong side of the market when data came out. Does that make sense? This is new to me, so how does this work? I just joined the program. Britt, there's a free guide that you have access to that you can watch, and then whenever you're ready to upgrade into the paid version, you can upgrade at any time. Options trading is different than Forex? Absolutely. Yes, Forex, you're trading currencies. Options, you are trading contracts and stocks. Let's just, to not overcomplicate it, you're trading stocks. Okay. Free guy wasn't loading. You might need to try a different browser. Saw 99% of strength. That just means it was a strong level of resistance. Do you ever trade Forex? Nah, I don't trade Forex. We only trade options. I like the probability of making more money with less capital. And then if you size in bigger, you make more money, right? Can you use this to swing trade? Absolutely. Yeah, we have a swing trading guide as well in the paid group. I don't think it's in the free one. How do you use ATR? So this is another thing, right? So great point. Shout out to Dream Girl, right? So this is a key point of ATR. So remember on earnings, right? A stock can move 200% of its ATR. So what is an ATR? ATR is the average true range. It's basically how far can this stock move before it gets exhausted, or what is the average? What does it move on average? So when you're reading the ATR, right, this says $4.28. So this ticker moves $4.28 on average in either direction. So that means some days it moves higher, some days it moves lower, some days it's right around it, but that's the average. Okay? When you look over here to the left, this is how much it moved today. So it ran $9.41, which is 219% of its ATR. So it doubled what it normally runs. And this normally happens on earnings days, which is why, you know, we trade earnings a lot. We like momentum, we like volume, we like big moves that can pay you big. So if this ran double the average on its daily, then the contracts that you bought could run and make more money. Does that make sense? So the way you use the ATR is you're looking to say, hey, how far can this go before it starts slowing down, or before it starts reversing, or before it loses momentum? So you basically look at it and you gauge it as a range. Okay, it can move $4 from here, either up or down. This is where it can go before it gets exhausted. But on earnings, it can increase. It can go 2 or 3x how much it normally runs. Did that help with the ATR? What's your typical size on a day trade to meet your daily goal? Well, we risk 3.5%, and then you're only looking for 2% on your account. This is a risk management rule that we teach. It's very important because I size my trades for 0. So some people, y'all might use, you know, stop losses and stuff like that. I just take my trade with my stop loss. And I wish there was like an easier way to say it, so that way, like if someone was like a complete beginner or they didn't know anything about trading, that they could just understand it. But I don't really know if there's like a simpler way for me to say it. But basically, like, if you go into a trade with $1,000, you have a 30% stop loss. That means when you get down $300, when you're down $300, you tell whatever platform you're trading on to exit your trade, to sell it, right? And now you're down $300. Well, I'll just enter the trade with $300, right? And the trade will either work or it won't, right? And there's a lot of people who talk about this concept, right? One that comes to mind is Elite Options Trader. He talks about it on a video on Words of Wisdom, which is a YouTube podcast for trading. JR talks about it a lot. JR Greatness. Shout out to my dog. This is a concept that's something that I'm doing and I'm still getting better at as well. One of the things I'm working on is holding my contracts longer. There's trades that I'm sending into the group that are doing 800, 700%, and I'm closing at 100%, and I'm seeing members hit 500, 600%. So that's just something internal that I'm working on. But every trader is always working on something. You know what I mean? It just takes time. All or nothing trade, so only risk what you won't miss. Exactly. Risk what you won't miss. Take a trade with the amount of money you're okay with losing. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So we talked about key levels. So real quick, do we have a good understanding of key levels now? Do we have an understanding of key levels now? So I tell y'all, Lux Algo, it just marks it out for you. So if you don't want to go back and find it and do all that, Lux Algo. There you go. Elite Options Trader, Dantes the GOAT. Yo, shout out to my guy. Shout out to Brando, yo. Make sure you guys check out his interview as well, y'all. Super, super dope interview. Like, I watched it like 4 times or 5 times. I can't even remember. Yeah, I think the only thing I'm working on is holding my trades longer. It's not even a matter of if I'm getting the wrong direction. Is that when it moves in my direction, I'm taking profits too soon when I should be letting it run. Like even if I have runners, I'm not even letting my runners run long enough, which is crazy to think about. Are you typically trading weekly or 1 day contracts? It differentiates. It's between the two. Yo, Elite Options Trader, yo, appreciate you for the gifted, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro. It means a lot. Definitely looking forward to jumping on the call with you, bro. If you're free this week, I'll shoot you a text, or if you want to shoot me a text, let me know what your schedule looks like. So lately I've switched to just really trading SPX. It does move more. I don't really recommend just like jumping into it. Like if you're like right out the gate, I don't recommend it. You could probably trade like a QQQ. Like I used to trade only earnings. Like it's just too many tickers for me personally. So just really focusing on one ticker and just really sticking with it. Like that is what I am solely focused on. And then also I had to size down because I realized, like, shout out to Brando, like sometimes you're sizing in too much into trades and there's too many emotions into like the trade. So like if I'm up a couple $1,000s, like I'll be like, okay, this is great, I'll take profits. But the problem is the trade could go way farther, but because I'm looking at the dollar amount, I don't, I'm not letting the trade do what it needs to do. Does that make sense? So yeah, what was another ticker that I sent out earlier today? I think we sent out QQQ as well. Same exact thing. Now, this was a different setup today, right? So if you notice, actually it wasn't that different, right? This was the same setup, right? A 3 bar, right, is still an actionable signal. Same exact thing here, right? You have to trust your setup and let it play out. That's the thing. Like I'll be taking profits at my targets, and it's so much more that the stock runs, which is showing me that, obviously my setup is working, but I'm not holding it long enough, which is something internal that I just have to focus on. I notice I trade better when I meditate in the morning though, or when I eat healthy, or I get a lot of sleep. I notice that I trade way better with like way less emotion. So if that's something you guys are struggling with, if you guys are trading, I would definitely suggest like limiting social media. Like maybe at the end of this live, like maybe I'll give y'all, if y'all want, I can give y'all like actionable things to do to notice a difference in your life as a whole. If that's something that is important to you guys, like I can just give y'all some tips and things that I'm noticing that works for me, with the hopes that you could just take it and run with it, and hopefully it works for you as well. So just let me know in the chat if that's something you guys want. Okay. But back to the example, right? So here on QQQ, right? So we seen the market close yesterday. So in the beginning of the day, yesterday, we had a strong move up, right? Throughout pre-market, I think we moved up about $1 or so, if that, a little less than $1, right? Market opens, right? So we first, as at open, we sell off and then we recover. But remember, data came out at 10 a.m. So PMI data. So what does this mean? Data is going to give you momentum or volume or just more momentum in the market during that particular time frame. So when data came out, the market reacted. Okay. So what happens is you push up above Monday's highs, right? You push up and then you sell back through it when data came out. So you could have taken the break under Monday's highs once again, or you could have waited to take the break here under the 3 bar. So this is a 3-2 continuation in this direction. And look how it would have played out for you, right? You go 3-2, you stay in the trade because you're still green, never breaks back above Monday's highs, never breaks back above your entry, right? So you're fine, you're chilling, right? And then it continues to sell off. So these are all setups that we sent out earlier today before the market opened. And I live traded this in front of you guys as well. So, these are some of the things that you guys get when you're in the paid group. The reason I have the free group is just so people who like, like they have these limiting beliefs that it's going to be hard for them to learn from me or any of these things. Like I just want to say, hey, I'll give you some really good free stuff. And then you'll notice on your own that this is something that is worth upgrading to. And then when you upgrade, you'll be like, oh God, thank you for me meeting you. Cause now everything clicks. Just God looks algo. Yes. It's an absolute necessity. What indicator are you using? This is the Strat Assistant to show the 1s, 2s, and 3s. What other questions can I answer for you guys? How often does data come out? So you can use, shout out to Brief Ears for the gifted. Thank you. Appreciate you, Queen. You can use, what is it called? Forexfactory.com. You can use that to find all the data. So you just want to make sure it's selected for US data. And then the red folders data is the most important. What do you trade on? I've never seen these types of charts. This is TradingView. It's just a different indicator. Most people don't trade the strat. Most people just don't trade the strat, which is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to find what works best for you. Yes, would love to hear any tips. I'm a beginner and I can't wait to start. I think you just got to, like, my biggest tip to you would just obsess over getting the information. Like, in every area of my life, right? When I obsessed over getting the information, that's when I started doing better. Like, you have to really take this and just take it for what I'm saying, right? For the way I'm saying it. You have to buy into this whole thing wholeheartedly. Like, you got to go in 2 feet. You're not doing it half, one toe in, one toe out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, you're going into this fully. And what that means is you start replacing all the BS with learning this. So if you watch Love Island and you fucking watch Love and Hip Hop, or you watch the NFL and you do all this stuff and you put hours and hours and hours into this, what I'm telling you is you got to obsess over this craft right here. You got to replace all of that stuff with YouTube videos or the course modules that I give y'all for free, or if you're in the paid group, all the material that's in there. You have to obsess over it so much, because who you are right now, you are not satisfied with that individual. So if you are a beginner, you got to choose to make better choices, because everything comes down to choices. Like, I don't care what no one says, man. Like, you can change your life in 6 months if you make the right choices. No one said it's going to be easy, right? But that is the whole point. That's why being at the top, that's why it's not that many people there, because people don't make the right choices for a long enough period of time to get there. They give up. They fold. I could never fold. I put too much respect on my last name to fold at anything that I do. And that's like, that is a belief that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are beliefs that I have built within myself to understand, like, I am really him and I can really achieve everything that I put my mind to. And the only reason someone else is ahead of me isn't because it's impossible for me. It's because they just know something that I don't know. So I'll go out there and I'll put more hours than you. I'll go put in way more hours than the average person to learn what I don't know, so I can get to the level I always wanted to get to, because that's more important to me than being entertained for a small period of time, than watching fucking Love Island and shit. Like, I could care less, right? That is more important to me. You just have to choose what's important to you, and your day-to-day actions is showing you what's most important to you. The hard reality of it is accepting that you are choosing those things over the things that you always wanted in life. That's the hard reality. Give in to the system. Exactly. How bad do you want it? Exactly. It's like, I want it more than air itself. And I truly wholeheartedly believe that. But like, other people don't want it that bad. So even my results that don't seem that crazy to me seem like a lot to them because they haven't done shit. Right? Like, is this clicking right now? Are we clicking right now? I just noticed I didn't even have the right audio on, right? But like, I am more obsessed with the process than them. And that's why the results are bigger. And that's why they don't understand it. Are you willing to backtest for hours to get where you want to be? Exactly. Are you willing to go through these charts and go say, how does the market act on Mondays? How does it act on Fridays? What did price do around this key level? Are you willing to journal? Do you write down your emotions after your trades? Do you write down your plans, and did you execute the plans? Do you show up to execute your plan, or do you show up to make money? There's a clear difference in why certain people see success and other people don't. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. It does not matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or you're Jewish or you're Muslim. It does not matter what you believe in, your religious beliefs, right? This is why I love the stock market. Because here's the thing about the stock market. It doesn't care about your beliefs. It doesn't care about what you think. The market will move and pay those who are educated enough and are risk adverse enough to take the risk. And the people who are okay with taking a loss and coming back and bouncing back, those are the people who get paid. Those are the people who stay around for a long time. Okay? Somebody said, love the psychology class, you know? What other tickers did we send out today? So we had HIM's report today. We had Palantir as well. Same thing here. Simple combination. 3, 1, 2 back down. This is a strat setup, right? 3, 1. So you had a volatile move up, consolidation, followed by a sell-off. And then it consolidated the rest of the day. ETFs drag the earnings back down. Exactly. And this is something I told y'all, you know, you got to kind of be careful with those earnings. That's why I watch ETFs so much, because if the ETFs are selling off, the rest of the market will follow. If the Nasdaq, if the S&P 500 are selling off, the rest of the market will follow. Right, so Palantir had their earnings as well. What I tell y'all in pre-market, because it's a stock that is well known, institutions and investors will be watching it heavily. And what do they like to do? They like to fake you out. Remember, in order for you to make money, somebody else has to lose money. In order for somebody else to make money, you have to lose money. So what's happening is people are just donating their money to the market instead of just being patient, right? So at pre-market, I told y'all, look, price is already at an all-time high. If it breaks above, you have to be careful for reversals. And lo and behold, what did you get? A 3, 1, 2 back down. This is a reversal setup. Same stuff every day. You just got to be patient. You got to put more time in on the charts to understand this stuff. Right? What else did I want to cover today? I can't remember. All right, so let me just give y'all some actionable things that I do right now to help me in my overall life, in just every aspect of life, okay? So number 1 is I've limited the amount of social media intake that I have. So what do I mean by this? So on your phone, you can go to your settings, right? And you can go to downtime on your phone. So for me, from 8:30 p.m. until 7:30 a.m., right? What I do is I have my phone blocked off, so I can't access any of my apps, right? As far as social media goes. So all those are blocked off. That's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do is after that time frame, after 8:30 to 7:30, because I don't want to watch it at night. I don't want to see social media at night, unless I'm just posting some content really quick, right? Then I'm back off of it, right? And I don't want to see it in the morning when I first wake up, because if the first thing you do is wake up and grab your phone and look at social media, you're already starting off the day on the wrong foot. You're already putting stuff, energy, and all this shit into your body that you haven't even calibrated yourself yet, right? You haven't had time to sit with yourself. You haven't had time to put food into your body. You haven't had time to do any of these things, right? So I don't look at my phone in the morning, and I don't look at it at night before I go to sleep. I don't want to be congested. I don't want to be foggy, right? Second thing that I do is during the day, I have an hour and a half limit on all social media apps. What this allows me to do is be more productive in real life and not be so soaked up into what is going on social media. This is what I personally do. The next thing that I do is I have a schedule of my day. I know when I wake up. I know when I'm supposed to be working out. I know when I need to trade. And after all those things are done, I know how to nurture my mind. I watch podcast interviews, right? I read books. And I study. Because I am intentional. I want to be extremely, extremely successful. So in order to do that, you have to be willing to make sacrifices. And then there's a small portion throughout my day where I leave for entertainment. So at nighttime, I might watch a movie. I might watch a TV show because I've already completed everything. I've checked off everything on my box earlier in the day. So another thing that I do, another actionable thing that you could do is in your notes every morning, right? You create a list of things that you know you need to do today. And as you check off everything on that list, at the end of the day, you have gotten 1% better today. If you know you needed to do this PowerPoint for this thing in your business, or if you know you needed to journal, if you know you needed to backtest for an hour, right? If you know all of these things and you know you need to do it, put it on a list, check them off so you can feel more satisfied. So what you're doing is you're building a habit, right? Of doing, like, here's the habit you're building. You're telling yourself you're going to do something and then you're actually doing it. When in reality, majority of people have the opposite habit. They tell themselves they're going to do something and then they never do it. They keep talking about how they're going to work out, but you still ain't seen them in the gym. They still talking about how they going to start, reading more books. They still ain't even bought a book. They haven't even opened the book. They haven't even got through chapter 1 of the book. And, I heard Alex Hormozy say something once, and I'll quote him on this. It is easier than ever to become ultra wealthy, ultra successful, ultra rich. It is easier than ever. All you got to do is do it more than everybody else. And just as a byproduct of doing that, you will achieve more than everybody else because everybody else is not willing to do it. So the thing is like, how much are you willing to do to get to where you want to get to? And can you do it without any satisfaction? Can you do it without seeing any wins? How long can you do it for without tapping out? What age did you start trading? 21. You're building trust within yourself and the ability to fall through. Once you show up a few times, the routine gets easier. It gets way easier. Right? Like, doing these things will help you in every area of life. It's not just like, here's like for everyone out there, okay? If you want to be really, really fucking good at trading, you have to be really, really good at being you. You have to be really, really good at understanding yourself. I was watching a podcast interview and it was an older guy. He's been trading for like 30 years. And he said the one thing about the market that most people don't understand is that you're not mastering the markets. It's you mastering yourself. The market will show you things about yourself that you're either willing to accept or not. And you'll know if you accepted it or not based off the results that you're getting, based off your emotions when you're trading, based off your ability to bounce back from losses. That's how you know if you're mastering yourself or not. So here's the thing, if you're not balanced in every other area of life, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to become balanced in this area. This requires the ultimate balance. That's the crazy thing about trading. This requires an above average level of discipline. It requires a above average level of understanding of self. And if you don't have these things, trading is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life. It does not matter what strategy you trade. It don't matter how much money you have. It don't matter who your coach is. It don't matter. None of that shit matters. If you're not willing to understand yourself and master yourself, you will never master trading. Facts, I learned to accept only what's in my control because of trading. Exactly. Right? What's the point of me tripping out and being mad over things that I couldn't control in the first place? Becoming disciplined is just something you do. It's something you become. And once you become, you can't undo it. Exactly. You have to become this person that is worthy, right? Like, people want things, but they aren't worthy to maintain them. So it's like you're asking for a blessing too early. And this is why you're not getting it, because you're not ready for it. The podcast is from I posted it in the Discord. Damn, what's his name? Howell. That's his last name. I can't remember his first name. I think it's Robert Howell. Let me see. I definitely posted it in here. I think it's under trading knowledge videos. Yeah, Randy Howell. Speaking real stuff, Tez. Appreciate you, brother. So we understand key levels, right? Do we understand volume? The volume indicator, why it's important. Now, another thing is, again, you guys can feel free to use Ripster trend labels. It outlines price action as a whole. The volume is definitely going to be an indicator you want to use. We need you on Xavier's podcast again. Shout out to my guy, Zay. Can I join up? Yeah. For all of you guys who are in the TikTok or YouTube or Twitch, wherever you guys are at, there's a link in my bio you guys can join through. You'll be able to join the free Discord, and then whenever you're ready to upgrade to the paid version, which is like more access to classes and things like that, you can upgrade at any time. Do you like APLD? It's crazy. One of our members just had their first $10,000 day off that ticker, but I haven't looked too much into it, so I don't want to give you, my opinion on it. I haven't really done my due diligence. Patience is the number one thing in my experience in trading so far. Yeah, it's the most important thing that you can learn in any level of life or anything you do. Do you trade ones or wait for confirmation on the next candle? Always wait for confirmation on the next candle. Always. Love this live. Thanks for the gems. No problem. No problem. Let's see where we closed off on the daily time frame for QQQ heading into tomorrow. So massive fail 2 up. Oh my goodness. You answer everybody? I try to. So here on QQQ, what we have here is we sold off from these all-time highs, gap down, filled the gap, rejected going higher. QQQ under 560, you have 552 in play for this week. Actionable signal, exactly. This is an actionable signal on a higher time frame. This is a key setup. So now you're looking and saying, hey, if this triggers on a daily time frame, well, I'm looking for daily levels. So your next target will be 557. You can even use these wicks here, and then you have a gap fill back here at 553.96. That will be a potential setup for tomorrow. We would just have to see how pre-market holds up in post-market. IWM, I'm guessing it's the 2 up hammer. We'll see what it wants to do. We'll see what it wants to do. Previous quarter highs is definitely a level that price could come back to again. So we'll see. Can you see your candles mark live that, or can you see your candles mark like that during market session, the 1s, 2s, and 3s? Yes. Yeah, all of this is happening live. This is the Strat Assistant indicator. This is how we read candlesticks. Okay. If one side of a broadening formation crosses with a key level, would this be additional confluence for a high probability setup? Exactly. Yes, it would. If price is, ideally you want to take broadening formation setups after they give you an actionable signal. That is the proper way to trade a broadening formation. So if price is coming up into a broadening formation, you wait for a strat setup like a reversal, and then you take that, and it's a higher probability trade. Thanks for the response on APLD. I'm long-term investing now, interested in trading. Yo, no problem, Kev. Definitely check us out, bro, if you're interested. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So like, you don't want to just trade broadening formations just because price just got into it, right? You know, you don't want to just instantly trade it just because price is tapping into it, because price could break above it, right? Broadening patterns are stop hunts, basically, essentially. Broadening formations are the market making higher highs and lower lows, basically. It's a more advanced portion of the strat, which is why I don't like to teach it on lives, which is why it's like we have advanced sections in TSA in the paid version of the group, and that's where that is taught. Because when you try to add everything in too soon and you don't know about the strat and the fundamentals and the foundation of the strat, learning about broadening formations just takes the shit to a whole other level. But when you use it, when you do understand those and you use it, oh my God, takes your trading to a completely different level. But yeah, if you want to learn that, obviously, again, all the people who are in TikTok or YouTube, whatever platform you guys are on, you can just click the link in the bio. There's a free PDF, free courses, free Discord. I send like 1 or 2 signals a week. Y'all can feel free to join that. And then whenever you're ready, you can upgrade at any time. Are you combing through the strat with other stuff like bull flags? Yeah, I'll use, not patterns, but I'll use candlesticks. So if I see a hammer, a shooter, a doji, like I'll use those alongside the strat. But I don't really use patterns too much, like bull flags, bear flags. I don't use those too much. What are your thoughts on probability trading? I've watched a lot of videos from Tasty Trades where they trade spreads, iron condors, broken wings, but super simple when you understand the candlesticks. It's just different, right? Like most people don't trade the strat. This is a lot of people's first time seeing 1s, 2s, and 3s and all these colors on their chart, right? And naturally, the first thing they think is to repel it, is to think that, oh, that doesn't work. Or because it's not the norm, you know, they think, oh, there's no way this could work. It's just some scam. He's just selling me a course or some shit. And, you know, in reality, it says this gives you a better understanding of the market as a whole. And everyone has a strategy that works for them. This is just what works for me. So I think me taking regular trades You know, it works best for me, but I doubt, not I doubt, everything works. You know what I mean? If you're willing to make it work, it can work. But this will be one of the ways to make things way simpler for yourself, though, to be completely honest with you. Right? It'll make things way simpler for yourself. What's up, Tez? What up, Ruben? What's going on, bro? Okay. We already looked at IWM. Let's take a look at SPY as well. So on SPY here, failed 2 up as well. Actionable signal on the daily time frame. Definitely going to be watching this for tomorrow. Can you look at Google? Yeah, let's take a look at Google. Oh my God, shooter. Now Google might be one I want to watch. So look at this, right? Oh my God. When you look at this, right, for my TSA members, when you look at this, do you feel like, oh my God, like this is like a great setup? When you see this, like just based off seeing this right here, you can open the chart, right? Let's say you don't even see any of these lines. This is what you see. I'm in the put. Good job. Yes, this is a great entry. So why do I say this, right? You have equal highs right here, right? So exactly, wicking at key levels. So you're wicking at key levels and you have a gap to the downside. I actually didn't see this. Nova sent it out. See, that's why you always need another trader that sends out signals. Shout out to Nova. Nova be killing it. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing opens up and it fucking plummets, right? Target, gap fill. Next target, 189.18. And then you have previous week lows at 187. These would be your targets. So look at this, right? This is why this is a higher probability trade. This is why this is a trade that I would want to take. One, you have equal highs. So price broke up here, resistance. Resistance, came back up to the same level, resistance. So it has rejected this level, which has now become a strong level of resistance 3 times. Second is it created an actionable signal. This is called a failed 2 up. It failed to stay higher, right? The third thing that you notice about this, right, is this is a shooter candle, right? This is a shooter candle. So with shooters, you're looking for reversals. The fourth thing that you notice is not only is this a reversal and not only are you rejecting resistance, you also have a gap that needs to get filled. This is what makes it a higher probability trade. So I would be more willing to bet money on this trade rather than some other shit because I have confluence. And then I know that the gap could get filled. Why? Because every time it touched this level, it came back down to this level again. It's the same stuff over and over. And your targets are right here. So this is a great setup. We might look for this tomorrow. And yeah, this is a failed 2 up too. What is the 1, 2, 3 indicator called again? It's called Strat Assistant on TradingView. Does it come with the higher highs and higher lows and Monday's highs labels? No, those come with the Lux Algo indicator. Be mindful of your language. I have my little nephew listening to learn from your skillfulness. Okay. Okie dokie. But yeah, does this make sense when you're looking at this? Does this make sense when you guys are looking at this? Comment yes down below. Do we have any questions when you look at this? Right now, remember, this is on the daily time frame. You still have to wait to see what the market opened up as. And look at this. Oh my God. Price came right back into an order block, rejected previous week highs. This is like a key setup. Like this is a dream setup right here. Is there a chart settings video? Yes, there is. Are you open to new strategies? Man, I done went through all the strategies, bro. I feel like this is the one that works for me, to be honest with you. What's the name of the stock? This is Google. This is Google. Yeah, so if you can get like a break below 193.50, definitely will be the move. You just set an alert. When it triggers, you take the trade. And then you size for 0. Look for the gap fill. 192.5 put. Good. Yeah. And then targets, gap fill, 189. This is also a gap fill. And then 187.82. Those would be your targets. What's the name of this strategy, to be exact, for notes? The Strat and Smart Money Concepts. Let's just pair them together. It's combined. They are just combined. All right. Any other questions, guys? Did we clear up everything, or is everything clicking right now? Is everything making sense? Are we understanding things at a different level? Dantes, I'm a noob to trading. Where can I start? I really want to acquire the skill. Just click the link in my bio. There's a free link in there where you can join and get some free game. I like Lux. It's just busy. LOL right now. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on, but when you understand it, it's one of the best things you can add. No lie. No lie. Thank you for this today. No problem, Nicole. Glad you liked it. Glad you liked it. Brother to brother, I'm 21. I need to figure out, would you focus on using clothing to fund trading or vice versa? I'm such a fast learner. I'm up 2K on options, trying to grow and build like you. Honestly, bro, I would only stick with trading, bro. Clothing is a great business model, but if it's not your end goal, investing, everyone needs to invest. It doesn't matter what type of business you have. Like, the crazy thing is, like, I'm very cool with a lot of people who make an insane amount of money, right? Like 400,000 a month, $1 million a month. Like, I have a lot of friends who are making an astronomical amount of money, right? And even higher than that, right? Everyone has to learn how to invest their money. It's like just a ground principle. And the stock market will always be the #1 place people go to invest their money. So it would definitely be the one place that I would put most of my energy in. If I was to go back to 21, I would definitely put most of my energy there. Real estate and trading, exactly. You're a great teacher, thank you. Along with investing. Yeah, you can invest into other things as well, but like investing in the stock market is people's go-to. And real estate, those are the go-to. What type of investments do you have? Real estate, other businesses, crypto? I am a Bitcoin maxi. I don't know why I'd be saying that. Yeah, I hold a lot of Bitcoin. I've majority of my net worth is in Bitcoin. I've been in Bitcoin since 23,000. Proud owner of Bitcoin. No real estate. No desire to have any real estate either, unless it's for tax purposes. Stocks, obviously I have a lot of stocks, or not a lot of stocks, but a good amount of stocks as well. But yeah, I'm 18 and I want to take all my money out my savings and save it in stocks instead. Smart or no? It's not financial advice. However, I think, in my personal opinion, if I was 18 and I was to go back and do things, I would save my money in Bitcoin. There's nothing that has a better return than Bitcoin, Nvidia, and gold. I don't see the free Discord link in the bio. You click the link in the bio, and then there's like multiple options that come up in the bio, and you just click the one that says free. Where do you see bull going? I have a leap. I still have my same targets. It retested 1520 today. Then we sold back off, so this is a 4-hour order block. My target is still, they have earnings on August 28th, I think, or 27th, one of those days. My target is still $20. Where do you buy your Bitcoin? I buy it on, you can buy it on Robinhood, and then I just transfer it over to my ledger. Or you could just buy it off your ledger. Do you trade the daily chart? Sometimes. I look for entries off higher time frames, so like a daily, 6-hour, 4-hour. Those are where I find my entries. Can we look at SPY again? Sure. Clean setup. Break back through previous day highs. Same exact thing, right? So you came up, retested Monday's highs, a key level. You failed to hold it. Data came out, and then you broke down, and you know you had a gap to the downside. Now the gap isn't fully filled just yet. However, it's something that you were anticipating trading. So I just took this trade on SPX, but you could have taken the same thing on SPY. You heard of River for Bitcoin you earn on your money? Nah, I never heard of it. So your targets that are showing up in your trading view, those came from Lux Algo, or are you manually setting them yourself? Those are things that I'm manually setting myself. Do you use Coinbase? Nah, I don't use Coinbase, me personally. I use a ledger. You can use Coinbase though. It's just, a ledger is just a more secure way. So like when you do start owning a lot of Bitcoin, like when you have whole coins, you definitely want to make sure you own and protect your coins with your life, which is why you get a ledger. Any recommendations on cold wallets? I have a ledger. I know there's a couple different ones, but I personally just use a ledger. It's a cold wallet. That's what ledger is. It's basically a cold wallet. The SPY and SPX move the same way. Yes, they both track the S&P 500. 93% on SPX and let my trade go red, anticipating the full gap that we never got. Yeah, that's crazy work. It's okay. On to the next. Can you briefly explain the 1s, 2s, and 3s? Those are all explained in the course that you have access to, Aaliyah. You can watch the whole thing. That way you don't just get a brief example. You can just get a full example or a full teaching inside of it. Excuse me. All right, y'all. Well, how do we feel about today's class? Did you guys like it? How we feeling? How we feeling today, y'all? Do we feel like we learned something? Do we feel like some stuff is just clicking today? Do we feel a little bit more, oh yeah, let's rock out? I'm so glad I saw this email notification for the Zoom. Glad you guys liked it. Really great teacher. Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome class. I don't know if I missed it, but what's your thoughts on S&P 500? Very strong right now. However, August is just historically one of the worst months for the market. So we're just kind of seeing some drawbacks, but this is great buying opportunities. What's your price prediction for Bitcoin this year? On the low end, I say 134 by December. On the high end, I say like 150. Moonwalking to course because there's still more learning to be done. That's a fact. That's a fact. So for those of you guys who are in here and you guys are free members as of right now, what I'm going to do is for all of you guys who are free members inside of the Zoom, I'm going to send you guys a link to a 7-day trial to try out the paid version. Test it out for 7 days. See if you like it. If you like this right here, you will absolutely love the paid version. Tomorrow I'll be live trading with the group as well. So at 8:45 we'll jump on a live and we'll trade together. Kita says so worth it. Love it. But yeah, the trial link is right there for those of you guys who want to check out the trial. Other than that, if there's no other questions, that's pretty much it. W bro, bought your first clothing ebook. Love your journey, man. Keep blessing and receiving yours. So thank you, man. What times are you in? I'm in Eastern time, Eastern Standard. But yeah, other than that, this was a pretty successful class. Everything was recorded, so I'll be uploading this into the class recording section if you guys want me to. In the Discord, for those of you guys who are in the paid version, I want you to go over to the trading chat and drop one thing that you took away from today's class that either helped you or changed your perspective or just something you just didn't know. Drop one thing that you learned in there. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. Is this recording going to be placed in the free Discord? I don't know yet. I'll see.